Brody, what student service initiatives would you like to see implemented at Texas A&M?
Well, one of the ones that really interests me the most is one that we're implementing right now in dining services. From right now, we've been working with David Riddle and also with students across campus and Senate that we're finding so many problems with dining services where there's personal preference things like azimuth and rattlers not being open on time, not having enough food stocked at peak hours, the underground dining hall, underground food court closing down for renovation to Sabisa, not having gloves for sanitation, that sort of thing I think we can fix very, very easily, but we can also do it through student opinion. I also would like to do a transportation upkeep bill and also do a report on how many buses we need in order to keep up with off-campus student population. I would also like to do a reevaluate our parking situation where we have more pay-as-you-go parking lots. That way students won't have to get parking tickets simply because they're late to a class and have to park in a lot and they don't really have any other time to go to a garage. So those are really things I think we can work with transportation services and dining services to fix right now.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm actually working on right now that I would love to see Texas A&M implement at its fullest. In fact, I had this conversation with General Weber as well, and he said that this idea can easily become so big as a big event and as big as Replan. In fact, out of the people in the audience, raise your hand if a teacher has ever made an impact in your life. So you see that teachers are very, very important. I think that one of the things that I'm actually working right now, I just recently graduated as an educator, and I would love to see Texas A&M continue its commitment to community service. One of the things that I would love to see, in fact, you can record this, but you will see that in less than 2 years, Texas A&M will have every middle school in Bryan. Every middle school in Bryan will have a student-led organization that is hosting a tutoring program that is based on that is going to be based on volunteers, and that we're going to go into middle schools and we're going to save those kids. We're going to save the next generation of Aggies. We're going to save the next generation of college students, because it is important to get into the middle schools and to be able to rescue this generation that really is seeking out for our help.
Um, I'm having trouble with this mic. What I look for first is excellence in our student services, and realize just that student services are here to serve students and make sure that never gets confused with anything else. And so realize that they're here to serve students, and they're doing their jobs as efficiently and effectively as they can possibly be doing their jobs. I trust all of our administrators here at Texas A&M, and I trust that they're doing the best that they can. But sometimes, you just have to go in and ensure that students are being served, and ask questions that nobody else will ask to serve students. I also want to see student control of non-academic student service fees. I want to see that entirely in student hands, and ensure that students are paying for what they want to pay for, and ensure that students are representing their dollar wherever it goes, and ensure that anything that we do within student government is at the request of the students. Lastly, continue to put franchises on campus. Some of our most successful establishments are franchises on campus. So ensure that and provide a unique point of view for these programs.
Well, there's a lot of student service initiatives that we could talk about tonight. I'd like to talk about two. The first one has to do with parking. And this is an issue that I've faced every single day this year. I go to class for 50 minutes and I pay for an hour of parking, and I get out of class and out to my car, and it's an hour and 5 minutes. I get a ticket. I go to an hour and 15-minute class, and I pay for 2 hours, and it's just a waste of money. I would like to have an hour and a half option for parking in all paid parking lots. And if you look at the numbers, that could save students up to $70 a semester if you pay for parking every day, like I do. I'd also like to talk about this new mandatory meal plan for on-campus residents. Right now, there's a waiver that you can sign if you're not nutritionally able to eat on-campus food all the time. I would like to provide a financial waiver as well. There's a lot of students who more than likely cannot afford a $1,000 or so meal plan. And I think if they can't afford to live on campus and pay for that, they should have an option to be waived from that.
With student services, there's a lot of things we can talk about: parking, transportation services, dining services. There's always room for improvement with these initiatives. A couple of things really want to work on this next year are implementing rapid charging stations across campus. So if your iPhone's about to die or BlackBerry, you can go to one of these stations and plug in your phone and get a quick charge. Um, Another thing on a more serious note is we have these emergency call boxes all across campus, and I think something that would really benefit students is to retrofit these call boxes with PA systems so that Code Maroon can utilize them. If you think about the TU shooting incident that happened last year, they have PA systems all across campus, and they went off whenever the shooter was identified, and everyone got to safety. No one was hurt. I know Code Maroon. It takes 10 minutes to get a text from them, so by the time the shooting would be over, I would have gotten a text. Also, want to make campus more ADA friendly and open to all students.
Well, I'm a big believer in don't look at what someone says, look what they've done. And I have a record because I was fortunate enough to serve as the University Student Services Chair this year, to know student services quite well. We were able to do a lot of things. We were able to get a new ordering system in Ag Cafe, trays back in Sabisa, better handicap access all over campus, longer library hours, double-sided printing. Other things that we're working on right now, we're trying to make Lot 100 passes accepted in more parking lots across campus. We're trying to bring more national chains onto campus. As far as restaurants are concerned, more dining options, having daily deals where we have cheaper food on campus if a student wants that option. There are a lot of things that we can do, but I think what's most important is that there are all kind of wonderful ideas that we could all implement. But what's most important is these students don't have a place to come with these ideas. And so as student services chair, I went around and spoke to groups all the time, said, hey, find me on Facebook, let me know your ideas. And everything that I just mentioned, a student came up to me and requested it, and we went and got it done. But I'd like to set up an online service to where students can go directly to SGA and say their suggestions to improve things on campus. Open communication in student services.
Jose Luis, what circumstances warrant an increase in student fees?
Yeah, so I believe one of the things that I would love to do is to be able to inspire advancement here at Texas A&M. And many times whenever we want to be able to advance, that also requires monetary. And a lot of the times I think that one of the things that would be really, really great that will warrant this fee increases is that we have student opinion, that we create a survey, that we create a system where students can talk whether or not they support a fee or not, and then we take that opinion, and as the student body president, I will represent that opinion with the faculty. And if the fee is necessary, we would come to a middle ground, and we will talk about both sides of the issue. But I think that it's very important for us students to also understand that there's also a lot of budget cuts that the university a lot of times don't have control over it, and a lot of that also falls under the students. So I think that it would be very important to ask the students for what fee increases should be taken.
I think in terms of student fees, it's very, very important to draw a distinction between academic student fees and non-academic student fees. And I think kind of student fees the same way. You get what you pay for. We can have outrageously high student fees, and we can have whatever you want. Honestly, outrageously high student fees, whatever you want. On the other end, we can have extremely low student fees and have nothing. And I think the delicate situation is to find a balance in the middle ground of those two. Specifically with academic student fees, I think that the university has a goal to further the academic mission of the university. And so obviously with those academic student fees in the hands of not only students but in the hands of administrators, and ensuring that we are the best university that we can be and the best university in the country, I think that's extremely important. With non-academic student fees, I believe it should entirely be in students' hands. So that I said, these student service fees are going towards what students want and what students need.
Well, one thing I'd like to point out before I answer the question is I'm a student too, and I have just as much trouble paying the bills as anybody in this room does. School is extremely expensive at this point, and I completely understand that and can identify with that. I think there's two qualifications that we have to look at for an increase in student fees. One is it has to be absolutely needed, and the second is that it has to serve everybody on campus. It can't be exclusive to certain groups. At this point right now, with where we are with the economy, we just can't accommodate luxuries at this point. And I think this past year, what we saw was two fees that were worthy of an increase, and that was the library fee and the IT fee. Those are things that impact every student on campus, and they have to be improved as we move forward towards Vision 2020. One thing I'd like to promise is a commitment to work with the Senate Financial Committee to approve initiatives that impact all students.
You know, I think Drew Barber made a great point whenever he talked about the difference in academic fees and then other student fees. It's unrealistic to believe that we can get by and maintain our commitment to academic excellence without increasing student service fees. And like John said, they do contribute to things such as the IT fee and the library fee. I think it's important that we continue to implement the pay-as-you-go model, but it's also important that we continue to search for other sources of revenue across campus, whether it be academic or non-academic fees. Student fees should be a last resort of funding for any program on campus, regardless if it's academic or non-academic. With that being said, I'm not opposed to increasing fees that contribute to academic success and help us maintain our vision for Vision 2020. But for non-student fees, I am in favor of students having control over those fees. Thank you.
Going on the same train of thought as my last answer, Jeff Pickering, our student body president, and Speaker Tanner Wilson nominated me to be the chair of the SGA Committee on Student Fees this semester, or this year. And I've seen these reports and I've seen these requests, and there are ways that we can be more efficient. And I think that when it comes to student fees, we need to understand that an increase in student fees needs to be a last resort for revenue rather than a first. And unfortunately, I think right now a lot of places on campus, for a lot of initiatives, student fees are the first source of revenue rather than the last. I'm paying my way through school, and I'm sure I'm not alone in this room in going through that. We have to understand the climate around us and when it's necessary and have a risk-to-reward ratio when looking at increasing student fees. If we do increase them, it needs to be going toward a service that is open to everyone on campus, and it needs to be necessary and it needs to be wanted. And so between giving students control of student fees, measuring the climate, and making sure that it's available to everyone, I think that we will do the students justice.
When it comes to increasing student fees with state budget cuts, population increase here on campus, which is a good thing, meddling in the 7 solutions, which the Board of Regents did this past year in terms of changing our academic initiatives, and maintaining academic viability, we are going to have to increase some fees, but for other fees, we do have a choice. And I believe that for non-academic student fees, that choice should stay with students, period. For maintaining our buses, for maintaining computers in SCC, for the library fees, the University Writing Center, those are all things that students need and use. And I have no problem whatsoever of adopting a neutral stance and letting the people from those institutions come to both the Senate and myself as student body president and giving me their proposal in order to say, we need this money, this is how it's going to affect people, and I can make it a effective judgment from there. And I feel that as representing you as your student body president, I can make a good judgment on that.